minus 20 seconds.
In just a few seconds from now, the final shuttle booster rocket test will be underway in Utah, a last hurdle in setting a launch date for the Space Shuttle Discovery. Good afternoon from CNN Center. I'm Rick Moore. This is the International Hour, and this is a live picture from the test site at the Morton Thiokol plant.
2, 1, 0.
Central support systems out there. This is the test conductor, enable CO2 quench and water deluge panels. Roger.
Plus 100.
These are live pictures of the final test firing for the redesigned Space Shuttle booster rocket. This test is crucial to the launch of Discovery this fall and the resumption of the Space Shuttle program. CNN space correspondent John Zarella is following the test firing from Miami. John, it looks successful. What can you tell from the pictures we're seeing?
Well, it does look successful, and as you said, it was a very, very critical test. They've just now shut those engines down. They're going to water deluge them, purge them right now. And what the situation was here that made this such a nail-biter of a test, such a critical test, was that they deliberately built in many, many flaws in the joints, in the segments of that booster. And those flaws were designed to allow hot gases to escape to the redesigned seals, O-ring seals, to test how strong they were. NASA and Morton Thiokol insisted they would hold, because it was those seals, of course, that led to the destruction of Challenger.
John, it's my understanding, with a few variations, this is the same rocket engine that was blamed for the 1986 explosion that destroyed the Challenger. They have particularly today put in some situations that would almost give them an indication of what it was like 2.5 years ago, but it didn't happen again today.
That's correct, because they have redesigned those O-rings in such a way that they have added not 2, but 3 O-ring seals, and they've added capture features and many other very technical types of devices within those rings, within the area where that exact accident happened. And yes, it was in one of those segments, in the joint, that exact joint, they did introduce these flaws. The interesting part is that NASA officials, it was a very, very controversial test, simply because this could never happen again, they were saying. We have built in the kind of flaws that would be detected in the assembly of the booster back at Morton Thiokol. So it was a situation where you had some engineers saying, why are we doing this to ourselves? We know we have a perfectly reliable system now, the way we've redesigned it. Why are we going to build in the kind of flaws that would not happen, could not happen? But again, they decided they had to do it because it was the only way that they could verify that if all else failed, that these new O-ring designs would withstand, would stop hot gases from pouring out of that solid rocket booster and reaching the external tank, and of course then igniting the huge external tank with all that liquid hydrogen, which is what caused the Challenger disaster.
John, the third joint was left unflawed so that they could have a comparison. How long will it take them now to make that comparison, do the test, to know for sure when and if Discovery is going to get off the ground?
Well, it shouldn't take them too long. They have sensors and they have close-up cameras. What they will have to do is now get back inside of that motor and take those segments apart. Take apart the segments that they flawed, take apart the segments that they did not flaw, and then after that, perhaps a week, they'll be able to tell. While at the same time, at the Kennedy Space Center, they have, from what I understand, finished cutting through the bulkheads in the rear of the shuttle, of the space shuttle, and they are going to begin putting on a clamshell-like device to fix a leak in one of the shuttle's steering rockets, a much talked about leak that they discovered about a month ago now, and they had waited until after the flight readiness firing last week to begin this fix. They should be done with that in about 6 days, and I believe that by midweek next week we should have a firm launch date from NASA, and it will probably be the very end of September or early in October.
What could go wrong? We've got the tiny leak in the fuel line in the Discovery. We've got this test today. What is a worst-case scenario to continue the shuttle delay that, of course, nobody wants to see?
Well, the worst-case scenario would be that some anomaly, that they find something drastically wrong in this final test. If that does not happen, and if the shuttle fix proceeds well at Kennedy on that steering rocket leak, which from all indications it is proceeding just fine, then that's it. Their major hurdles are over, and it would appear that they are go for countdown. As a matter of fact, next week in Houston, they are going to conduct what they call their T30 briefing, which is the T-minus 30 days until launch briefing, which includes the astronauts and all of the project managers. So confidence is obviously right now running very high at NASA that within the next 6 weeks, we will see Discovery lifting off from Launch Pad 39B at the Kennedy Space Center.
All right, John Zarella reporting live from Miami as we watch together the final test firing for the redesigned Space Shuttle booster rocket near Brigham City, Utah.